Hi people, I hope you guys are well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a little bit nervous doing this because this is my first video, so please do forgive me if I make any mistakes. I'm going to jump into the tutorial then. I'm using my NYX brow pencil in the colour chocolate to define my model's brows. Now her brows were quite nice and full, so I didn't want to overdo this. So I'm literally just using feather strokes and filling in the gaps of the eyebrows. Now also what I'm doing is using the end of the spoolie to actually brush through the eyebrows, and what this does is just takes through any product, so if any of the lines were harsh, then this will actually help spread the product over into the eyebrow so it doesn't look like you've got any harsh lines. I'm going to do this on both eyes, and sometimes I'm not too fussed with going a little bit too long with the eyebrows, or if I do end up making any mistakes, I'm going to go around it with concealer so I can correct the eyebrows that way. So I'm going to be using my P. Louise base in Rumour, and I'm using a flat synthetic brush to apply this product. What I'm going to do is just get some product on the back of my hand. I use my brush to then dip into the product, but I'm keeping my brush flat, so you can see I'm getting some product, but what I'm also doing is flattening the brush to apply this. Now I'm going to start slowly right underneath the eyebrow, and I'm going to apply this underneath the eyebrow and carve the eyebrow out. So here you can actually remove some of your mistakes that you've done. So if for example I had actually gone a little bit too thick, I can use this product because it's quite thick and we apply it quite thickly as well, so we can actually get this onto the eyes and correct your eyebrow shape. So I'm going to pat this on. You're not going to swipe this. Don't use a fluffy brush for this because you won't get enough product. So initially what we're trying to do is actually pack on the product. So you can see I'm using the flat end of the brush and I'm just patting the product on. You don't want to use the product too much either initially, because you don't want it to come off when we're applying our eyeshadows. So just a thin amount but thick enough to cover the veins, and nothing should show through as such. But then you just flatten this out and you just pat it on. So you're just going to keep patting until the shininess kind of like removes itself. Now the brush that I'm using here is the Morphe M428 brush. It's a flat brush. There is also a flat brush from P. Louise that you can use as well. It just needs to be a flat synthetic brush really, nothing fluffy, so it's quite a nice dense flat brush. Now what we're going to do is move to the top of the brows. Now here again what I'm doing is a small amount of product, but just have a look at how I'm using the brush. I'm actually holding it horizontally against the skin, or just above the eyebrow, and then I just slowly start this, and once I've got to the place that I need to be, I then drag the product all the way over the eyebrow. And at this point at the end is where I kind of like just erase the extra bit of tip that I've done if it's too long, so I can get a nice point to the eyebrow that suits the model's face. Once I've got that product on, some people do just leave this and then go on to the eyes. However, what I find is that the product does dry out, so what you don't want is harsh edges everywhere when you're doing your base, etc. So what I do is I've just got a clean fluffy brush, so just any fluffy brush. The big fluffy brushes that I tend to use are from Morphe R40. So we're just going to buff all this product out. As you can see, I'm just using small circular motions. I'm just going around the eyebrows, the eyes, and just really buffing that product out. So I haven't actually used a setting powder here. Now you can use any kind of powder, loose powder or set powder, and just set the eyes lightly now, because the product is obviously tacky. However, I like to use my eyeshadows. I just find that this gives me more colour payoff. But you do need to be careful. Now what you have to do is grab your colour. So I'm using my Huda Beauty palette. I wanted this colour to be on the outer and inner corner of the eyes, and then I'm going to take it over into the crease area, so it'll be my transition colour. But if you note, I'm actually patting the colour on. I'm using a small fluffy brush here. I think the small fluffy brush that I'm using is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe M456 brush, and what I'm doing is patting the colour on. Now if I was going to swipe this, the the concealer and the eyeshadow would just merge together, so that's not what we're looking for. So initially what I do is I just pat on the colour both on the areas that I want it, so here the inner and outer areas of the eye, and then whatever's left on the brush I then swipe across, so it's in the center of the eye. As you can see, I'm just taking it around the center. Now again, here I'm not too fussed if I go a little bit too high, because I'll show you what I do if I do go a little bit higher than what I need to. So again, I'm just getting a little bit more product on a small fluffy brush, because at this point I just want to pack the colour on, so I'm not really blending it out extremely hard here. I'm just patting on the colour on both sides of the eye, and then this will be my transition colour, and then I'll be adding more colours. This is quite a simple eye, just a few steps, and you do actually get a really nice eye here. So but yeah, we'll continue doing this until we've got a nice blend. Now I do keep going back with more colour, because I just want to see what kind of colour payoff I want. So the more you want, you can add on. I'm not going too dark, as you can see. You know, the first time you put colour on, you're just literally trying to get some colour on, then you need to go back in and add more on, however heavy you want to go. I'm then going in with a slightly darker brown now. So if you were using, I mean at the moment I'm doing like browns here, so I've gone in for a lighter brown. Now I'm going in slightly darker of the same tone, to actually deepen the colour now. So this is where you're going to see the colour taking, the eye taking shape. So again, I'm just going slightly lower than where I actually placed the product initially. So the first colour was slightly higher. So here I'm keeping it to the outer corner and the inner corner, and I'm patting the colour on again. But once I've patted on all my colour, then whatever's left on the brush, I'm kind of like bringing into the eye a little bit. So I'm going across the eye, and then the same with the insides of the eye as well. So I'm patting my colour on. Once I've got all my colour payoff there, because the last thing I want is too much colour being in the centre of the eye, because I'm going to add some glitter. So once I haven't got much product left, that's when I start bringing the brush into the eyes a little bit more, just to get that blend, and then I'll go back in and add more colour as much as I feel that I need. The same thing on the other eye as well. Again, always whatever I do to one eye, I do to the other eye as well. So even later on you'll see, if I add some colour to one eye, if you know, sometimes you don't get the eyes even, or the lighting is not very good, and you know, when you tend to stand back and have a look at your makeup, you'll notice that you need to add more colour. I still do the same to both eyes, just to make sure that they're even. So we're just going to add this colour on as well, outer corner and then the inner corner again. You don't want too much product on. Always start with a little bit of eyeshadow, because the last thing you want is just having too much colour in one area. So just build it up slowly. Now you can see it's not blended yet. I'm literally just adding the colour on here. So I'm going to blend this out in a second. So what I'm doing here is I've got a clean fluffy brush. So this is another Morphe R40 brush. So what I'm doing here, like I said to you, that just above the eyes, I'm just buffing out the colour now. So I'm not really going for a very, very sharp eye look here. So I want it all blended out, even though I've gone in with the colour and I've set the eyes slightly dark in the outer and inner corners. This area here, I want it all blended out. So I'm literally just going around in circular motions and blending out the two colours together. But it's just the edges I'm doing. I'm not taking it down onto the whole eye. So I'm just literally, just in the top area, is blending the whole thing out. Now while you're here and I'm just waiting for the next move, is please do subscribe to my channel and do let me know in the comments as well what you think. Like I said, this is the first time, my first video, and as and when I upload more videos I will be doing specific detailed tutorials on eyebrows and eyelash application and things like that, so this one is more of a general eye look. Now I've taken that gold from the Huda Beauty palette, and on my finger I'm just tapping it on into the center of the eye. Now you can use a brush. If you were to use a brush, it would be like a dense flat brush that you want to use. You don't want to use a fluffy brush, it should be a dense brush. But I always find colors like these pay off so much better when you actually use your finger. So I just swirl my finger in and then I swipe it on. If you've noticed, I didn't tap it on. The first move when I actually go to the eye is I place my finger where I need it and I swipe it top to bottom, and once I've got it on, then I kind of like pat my finger around so I'm blending it out. Once I've got it on, I've just used a little brush here to add on a bit more color, but what I'm doing is it's just blending out the edges. In my makeup, or whenever you do makeup, what you do is it's all about blending. So in between every eyeshadow I do, I'm blending out, and that's how you get a good blend. So you have to keep going back and forth, and that's what it is. So now, because I've added my center color, which was that glitter, I'm going in and darkening the outer corners now again, because again I've lost a little bit of that color. So I want it to be a little bit deeper for me. So in the inner and outer corners I'm going back in with that colour. So just a touch of colour, and then like I said, I've patted the colour on, and then I'm going back into the centre and just swiping it all across so that I get a nice blend. So I'm going to do the same on the next eye. Again, just a little bit of colour on both the inner and outer corner of the eyes, and then whatever's left on there I just swipe across and blend it out. Now again, I'm going back in with my clean fluffy brush. Again, like I said, it's all about the blend. So whenever I do one move, I always like to do this again, because it just takes away the harsh lines and any eye colour if it's gone too high towards the eyebrows. It just cleans it, because you've still got that peelowy space there. Now next I'm going in with this Makeup by Mario product. I love this product actually. I've been using it a lot lately. It's just got a little bit of sparkle to it. So when you're using glitter, you sometimes, you have to use a glitter glue, etc. But you don't always want that look. Sometimes you just want a shimmer, and this is perfect for that. So I added the gold on anyway, the gold glittery shade from Huda Beauty, but then I just go over with this with my finger. So I apply it again with my finger, just swirling it in, and I went in a few times just to get the desired amount that I wanted. But it's just a really pretty look. I don't know if you can see it on camera at all, but it looks really pretty. Now I'm going in with a Kryolan shade now, and this is the shade Ivory. So I'm going to start, this is actually for the inner eye, so this actually can be used on the inside of the eyes. Now what I find is sometimes I use gel eyeliners, sometimes I use pencils, but for this kind of colour, I think I've been doing this for such a long time now, and I've got so much in my kit. I've stopped kind of like using a lot of different things for the same thing now, so I know this works, so I don't bother with the pencils now. So I'm just taking a little amount and I'm putting it in the eye on the waterline. You just brush it on. Just give your client a little bit of time though when you do apply this, otherwise their eyes will water. So just try and do it quickly, but give them a bit of space as well. Next I'm going in with my Mario palette, and this is the black. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not actually using eyeliner in this particular look. Lately I've realised that I haven't actually been doing a lot of eyeliner on any of my clients, my brides. It's literally, I'm taking, this is the brush I'm using is actually from Morphe. It's the eyebrow brush, and it's an angled brush. So I'm just using that and applying a little bit of the black eyeshadow. Now I'm just going right against the lash line, as you can see. So I'm just drawing a line on, but as I draw it on and when the product is lessening, I'm then blending it out a little bit, just a little bit, but I'm going to blend it out again anyway. So you can see I'm just tapping this colour on. I'm not extending it too much either, so I just want it on the base of the eye because it does look quite pretty when then you apply your eyelashes. So you just keep tapping this on to the desired look. Now I'm just going in with a small detailed eyeshadow brush. It's actually got no product on it, and what I'm doing is just going back and forth and blending that line out. So I don't want it to be really harsh. I didn't really want it to be so dark anyway, so you know, I just want it as a base for when my eyelashes go on, then it just gives you that effect of fuller eyelashes. So like you can see, I've just literally used a clean brush and I'm just blending that line out until I'm happy with the blend. So no product on this. You could add a little bit of product if you needed to, if you feel that obviously it's not dark enough, or if you want to go darker even, but I'm actually not using any product on. So I'm just going to keep blending this out until I'm happy. So I'm just going to use a makeup cleaning wipe and just use that underneath the eyes and just clean everything away. A lot of people tend to do their makeup base first and then the eyes. I do it this way purely because I think I'm quite messy and I like to be able to clean everything away. Otherwise I would never have a flawless base. So I'm just going to clean that away. I'm adding some Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. Now this is not the normal moisturiser I use, I just have this at this time, so I've used it, but I tend to just use normal Nivea cream actually. I find that I can use that on everyone, and I'm always adding my primers as well, so you know, for this part here I just want to hydrate the skin, so I think simple Aveeno cream or Nivea cream will do the job. I don't think it needs to be anything more, but I've got the magic cream at this time, so I did end up using it. So I'm just using a brush to apply this all over the face and the neck. You can use your hands as well. I've just chose to apply it with a brush this time. It is important to do this over the neck area as well, because you are going to be applying a lot of product there as well. I do come down the neck area, the ears, back of the neck, and I go down to just under the neckline. So that's how I apply my foundation, but I'm going in with the Benefit Pore Freshenal, so that I'm just going to apply in the areas that I want to. So normally where the pores on the cheek area, a little bit on the chin or the forehead possibly, but that's where I'm applying it quite lightly. So I'm just going to rub that in, and then always give this a few minutes to settle into the skin before you start applying your base. You just want to give it a few minutes to absorb into the skin. So I'll just apply this where I need it. Do let me know in the comments below what you think, and obviously what kind of things you would like me to show you. Each video will be different, so I will have specific things coming up soon as well, but I'm just trying my best to show you as much as I can. I'm not the best makeup artist, but I'm just showing you what I can do, so I hope you like it. Okay, I'm going in with the Kryolan in the shade Oriental. This I'm actually applying to the areas that I actually want to correct, so under the eyes and anywhere there's a little darkness, which tends to be around the mouth area. So you can use an orange corrector here as well, which I use a lot of, but since I've been using this, I actually like the way the application, I like the colour, so I find this quite easy. So I've just used this in the areas I want to. I haven't blended it out because I'm going to use my foundation to actually blend everything out. So I'm going in with the Kryolan paint stick for this base. Now it's not something that I would probably use on my model, but in this particular video I wanted to show you how to use this because it's something that I've struggled with for quite a while. I've never really liked this product, but then I've worked out a way that I like it. So I'm applying this in the shade GG, and I'm just using this stick itself, and I'm just literally painting the face. So onto the neck, onto the whole face, and I'm using quite a fair amount here, but it will get blended out afterwards. Just bear in mind that we are creating, an Asian, Pakistani, Indian bridal look here, and when it all comes together when you've got your outfit on and your hair's been done and the jewellery, and it's got to last you a very long time as well. So as long as it's all blended out and it's set properly, it should look lovely. So I'm going in with the MAC Studio Fix in the shade NC25. I find I don't like using the Kryolan just on its own. Other people sometimes get away with it, but I just find that I don't particularly like the finish. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to get some on the back of my hand and start applying that with a flat foundation brush, which the one I'm using is the M707. And I'm using this product quite generously now, and I'm painting this on. The excess product will actually be blended away, but at the moment I'm not actually blending the foundation now. I'm just applying it with the brush. So everywhere that I've added the Kryolan, I'm adding the MAC to it as well. So I'll just go over the whole area. Now, like I mentioned before, I do like to bring the foundation all the way down to just underneath the neckline of the dress that my client is normally wearing, on the ears, back of the neck, any skin that you're going to be able to see, because just we're obviously using so much product, it's going to be different to the natural colour of the skin now. So even though we're trying to match as nicely as we can, there's just too much product, so there will be a difference. For this video, as I mentioned, I was doing this at a bridal shop, so it was their outfit. So I didn't want to get makeup everywhere. So I haven't actually taken the product myself this time onto the ears, and I've only gone down to a certain point of the neck. I didn't actually go near the neckline of the outfit, purely because I didn't want to get makeup on their outfits. But normally I would actually go just under the neckline and blend it all out. So I'm using a damp beauty blender here just to tap all the foundation in. So this is what's going to actually blend everything out for me. I do love using the beauty blender. It is a damp beauty blender, so what you want to do is just get your beauty blender, use some water in a bowl under the tap, and just squeeze it out until it doubles in size. Squeeze all the water out and then use a kitchen towel just to drain it a little bit more, and then it's ready to be used. So you'll notice that I'm just tapping away, and I do this for a good 6 to 7 minutes. Now, what you don't want to do is if you just blend away for a few seconds, then your product's just still sitting on your skin and it's not actually blending in. So it's quite important that you blend away and keep tapping away and keep blending everything away. So you're going to continue doing this until you're happy with the blend and everything starts sinking into the skin. So you're blending out everything here. So what I find is once I've blended everything out, if I feel that I still want a little bit more coverage or that smoothness, I don't have it, I'll just tap back into my MAC foundation, just a touch, and just tap all over the face again. So I've just added a tiny weeny bit here, and I'm just giving it that smooth finish. So I'm just tapping away until I'm happy with that. The important thing is that you actually do tap away for quite a while here, because you do need everything to smooth out and be absorbed into the skin as much as possible, because we have used a lot of product here. So once I'm happy with what I've done and I'm happy with the blend, I move on to the contour and highlight. So I'm using the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Enhancer here, and this is a really nice concealer. It's very full coverage, so you don't need too much, but I do find that I can get away with using this on most skin types, and it gives me the coverage that I want. So I'm just going in with a flat brush, and I think this one is Morphe M428, and I'm just applying it where I want to highlight, so right underneath the eyes, and I am doing the regular triangle shape that you see people doing. So I'm highlighting right underneath the eye, so it's not too much product, but I am literally just applying it where I need it. Down the nose, the chin area and just above, in between the eyebrows and up onto the forehead a little bit as well. So that's where I actually want to highlight. So nothing's being blended out at the moment. I'm just placing my product. So then I'll move on to my contour. I like to cream contour as well on my bride, so I'm using the Fenty Beauty contour stick here, and I'm just going to draw on the contour. Now, I have been doing this a while, so I'm not that careful where I actually apply my contour lines, if that makes sense, because I know I can blend it out and get it to how I want it to look. But for yourselves, if it's not something you're comfortable with, maybe not add as much product as I'm doing straight away. Just start with a little bit and then add more if you need it. But for the cheek, I'm going from the eye, from the ear, down to the middle of the cheek towards the mouth, but not all the way, otherwise you've got too much product. And then the jawline as well, I've drawn on where I want the product, and then I'm going to blend all this out as well. I tend to blend out my contour lines first and then my concealer. It can be done the other way around as well, but I just find that this works for me. I think with makeup it all comes down to what suits you, and I don't think there's any rules that you need to follow as such. So I'm using this flat brush that I've got from MAC. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know the number for this particular one, it's rubbed off, but it was a contour brush. But you can see what I'm doing is I'm blending upwards and back into the ear area. So the reason I'm doing that is because there's quite a bit of product there. So what I don't want to do is bring it all the way forward and then I've got, it's all muddled. So any extra product I'll take off on the back of my hand, which I'll keep doing as well in between. You don't always see that, but I do that. So once I've got most of the product blended out into the ear and I'm blending upwards, then I'll start dragging the product forward a little bit. With the jawline, I blend a little bit more harshly, and I do drag the makeup a little bit, and I drag it down onto the neck, because this is the illusion that we're trying to create, so that we want those shadows there. So I'm blending it out, but it's still not a full-on blend here. I'm blending the product out, but I blend out the majority of everything when I do the concealer and also when I powder. So it's all going to look a little bit unblended still, when you see her, but it will get blended out eventually. So you can see I keep taking the product off, any extra product from the brush, and then I just keep blending away until I'm happy with that. And then I'll go on to blending the concealer out. So the concealer I blend out with a damp beauty blender. You can use the big beauty blender, or you can use the little ones as well underneath the eyes. I think that's quite good to use there. But again, I'm just tapping this out now, but I tap it out quite carefully. I'm trying to still keep it in the air as I am. So most of the product will get tapped away in that particular area, and then once I've tapped it out, I'll then start blending outwards a little bit. So you don't want the majority of the product to go outwards, you want that to stay where you've actually placed it. So I've done some of the areas, and then for the nose, this is a Jaclyn Hill contour brush. So I'm using this to blend out the lines on the nose. Now what I'm doing is I'm going up and down the nose, but I'm taking the product down the sides of the nose. So this just gives you a better blend. So as you can see, I'm going up and down, but I'm also taking it down the sides of the nose as well, just so that everything blends out, because I don't want harsh lines. I do highlight and contour quite heavily, but I blend it out quite a bit as well. So I don't like seeing the really, really harsh lines, but some people like that. So obviously if that's what your client wants, you can, you don't need to blend it out completely, but there's still a certain amount of blending you need to do. Now I'm going underneath the eyes. I've gone with my big beauty blender, but then I switched to a small one as well. And I'm just going to tap this out. So I tap it and I take it up to the sides of the nose, and I'm tapping right underneath the eyes, and then I take it upwards. Can you see I'm taking it all the way up to the temples and bring it down again as well a little bit. So I keep tapping. So you just keep tapping until you've got a good blend, and the concealer's not looking too shiny, so it's not too wet, so your product's starting to absorb into the skin. So I just like to keep doing this, and this just take a good few minutes. So I'm blending out the concealer here, and then what I do is, you'll notice afterwards, is I'm tapping away with my beauty blender, but I'm blending into the contour lines as well. Now you can see the motion I'm using here is I'm actually going upwards into the contour line, and then for the jawline I'm coming downwards, and I'm rolling my beauty blender. I'm not tapping them, I'm kind of like just rolling the concealer and blending it into the contour line. So I hope you can see what I'm doing there. It might be, hope I'm explaining it well. So before you apply powder, what you want to do is make sure that your concealer is set properly and you get your client to look up for you. But in between, while I'm setting that, I'm just applying my eyelashes. Now, the best way to do this, I use a Duo eyelash glue. So you apply that to your eyelashes and then leave it for about 60 seconds. You need the eyelash glue to be tacky. If you just go in straight, or if you've added a bit too much glue and you've not let it dry, get tacky, it will just slide about. So you just make sure that the glue is tacky, and then you can apply your eyelashes and it sticks quite well. And just make sure, you know, I'm just making sure that the edges are lifted and how, so that it can set nicely. I've used the Tatti lashes here, which I absolutely love, actually using the Tatti lashes. So they're one of the main brands that I use. So at the moment the face has not actually been set, so I've just gone in between. So while I'm waiting for things to absorb in, I tend to kind of like move back and forth into other things. So I went into the eyelashes at that point. So now I'm just making sure that there are no creases, and I'm just tapping away again. And I'm going to get my model to keep looking up, and then I'm going to apply the powder. I'm using the Laura Mercier loose powder. I find that this is one of the best ones that I like to use, and it seems to suit most skin types as well. So I'm going to be applying this with a brush, and it's a loose powder. So I'm just going to use a small brush. There are other ways of doing this as well, which I will show you in other videos, but at the moment it's just a small fluffy brush, and I'm just pressing the powder in and onto all the highlighted areas. So this is going to be just underneath the eyes, on the nose, on the chin area, underneath the contour lines. So you can see how I'm applying this. I'm pushing it on, and then I have got a lot of extra powder there, as you can see, so this will be the baking process as well. I don't always like to bake, I'll be honest. I do it on some clients and I won't do it on some, because I just don't think all skin types can take it. I think, I mean, here you'll notice, you know, I am using a ring light, and, you know, lighting makes a big difference, but sometimes it can look a little bit harsh and sometimes emphasize pores and lines more than hide them, to be honest with you. So, but here I'm just creating a slight line underneath the contour line. So this will just give it a little bit more sharpness. And I'm going to leave this powder where it is. I'm just going to let it sit there now for a few seconds, or a few minutes, and then I'm going to move on to other parts of the face, and then I'll come back and buff this out. So I'm taking the same dark colour that I used, the second colour on the eyes from the Huda Beauty palette, and I'm just using a flat brush and I'm taking it underneath the eyes. Now you'll notice I'm not really taking it all the way into the corner, I'm keeping it to the outer third of the eye, and I'm not blending it out completely either. It's a bit unfinished. I do find that with my work, I don't work, sometimes when I see other people's videos, you know, they apply something and it just looks absolutely perfect, but mine seems to be a work in progress. It all comes together at the end, hopefully, but normally, you know, I'm back and forth, and it's just the way I work. So if you can do it perfectly the first time, that's fine. But I've got my colour on there, and that's my main colour, that's just the dark colour I wanted underneath the eyes. I still need to blend it out, but I will do that afterwards now. I'm going in with the NYX contour palette, and this is an angled brush, and this is from MAC. So I'm using this to further enhance the contour that we've already done. So I'm using the powder again. You can see I'm using it, I'm packing on the colour mainly near the ears, on the outer edges of the faces, and then I'm bringing it in, and I'm using circular motions, and I'm going upwards as well. So I don't want just one straight line of this powder. I still need to blend everything out. So again, on the jawline as well, I'm blending everything out. So this will help me blend out the other harsh edges I had as well. Now afterwards I'm going to blend it out properly with a bit of powder, but at the moment I've just added the colour. Now again, you could have gone a lot heavier if you wanted to, it just depends what you want. I'm going down the side of the nose as well. I'm just tapping it on using that contour brush, the nose contour brush from Jaclyn Hill, and just tapping on the colour and blending it downwards as well. So I'm just blending it out, but it's not fully blended, you'll see. Now next I'm going to buff out the powder. So what I do is I just get a big fluffy powder brush and I just dip it into the Laura Mercier powder, and then I just come to the face and I start using circular motions and buffing out the powder that was already sitting there. So all over the face I'm just going to use circular motions. Underneath the eyes I'm just tapping the powder in. You have to be a bit careful here because you don't want the powder to go into your client's eyes either. So, but everywhere else you can see I'm using big circular motions, and I'm basically blending out the contour and the highlight powders that I've just used here. So I want everything to be blended nicely. So I'm going to keep doing that down the neck, everywhere I need to do that. So you want obviously powder everywhere, but it's just a light dusting of powder on the neck and everywhere else, but on the face obviously we had quite a bit of powder. So we're going to buff that out. So I'm just using my small beauty blender now just to buff out the lines and blend it out from the nose area, because I don't like having any harsh lines there. So I'm taking the first colour that I used on the eyes as the transition colour. So I'm using a flat fluffy brush and I'm blending this out, and I'm taking this lower than the darker colour that I had already applied. So this is what gives me my final blend underneath the eyes. And I have taken this all the way across the eye, and I tend to take it outwards as well, and then I use a fluffy brush to actually just connect the two eyes from the top and the bottom, just to give it that flawless finish and that blended look. So it's just a clean fluffy brush, and I'm using that to buff out the harsh lines, just so that everything is lovely and blended. Now once you've applied so much powder and foundation, your skin needs hydrating at this point, so I tend to go in with MAC Fix Plus or this iconic Prep and Glow spray, which I love because it's got like golden particles in it. So I spray away. I don't want too much on the eye, so I just kind of like cover up the face a little bit. But I'll apply it once, spray, give it a few seconds, and I'll apply it again. So this is what hydrates and brings your life back, brings life back into your skin again, because otherwise it is looking very dull. Now I'm using the highlighter from Becca here, and I'm just using a small fluffy brush, and I'm just using small circular motions, and I'm just buffing this in on all the highlighted areas that I want. So on the cheekbones, on the nose tip, Cupid's bow, a bit on the chin, a little bit on the forehead. So we're just going to apply this. Now I'm not going too heavy with this one because I'm actually adding another highlighter on top, but sometimes I'll just use this one, but I'll just go in a little bit heavier. So I just haven't picked up as much product for this particular time. So I'm just using that same fluffy brush all over wherever I want to add the product. It is important to blend all this out as well, so I am blending it out, but still not completely. I go back in normally with a beauty blender, and this is what I mean, my makeup is back and forth a little bit, so it is hard to explain sometimes when I'm doing this, but I'm glad that I've got these videos now, and you can see what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and then you can see, you know, you might be able to just blend it out in the one go and carry on to your next step, so which is fine. Like I said, this is just how I do things. Now once I've applied my highlighter, I go in with my blusher. So this is just, I think it's a number 7 blusher brush. I'm going in with a matte blusher, but unfortunately the writing's scraped off. So it was like an orange shimmery blusher. I'll have to let you guys know. But I'm applying that. But what I do is I then go in with a beauty blender and just blend that out, because otherwise you will have harsh lines if you just add your blusher. And these little things is what gives you then a completed blended look at the end. I know it might seem a bit pointless, but it is what helps. Going in with my second highlighter, this is a Diamond Glow powder, This is actually, I think I got this from America, but I've just tapped on a few dots, and then I'm just using a flat brush. It's a fluffy flat brush just to blend that out. So again, on the points where I've already used the highlighter, I'm just adding some more. This just gives it a little bit more oomph, I suppose, you know. So it's whether you like that or not. Whether you want a natural glow, then you know you don't need to use this. But we wanted to go all out, so I have used it for this particular look. So we're just going to add this on everywhere we need it. So just tapping it on and then using your brush to blend it out, and I'm just keeping in the areas that I want it to be in. And I will just use a beauty blender later on as well and just blend these the highlighter out as well, especially on the forehead. You can normally see these highlighter brush strokes, so I like to use a beauty blender and just blend that out. So I'll just keep topping that up until I'm happy with that. Do subscribe to my Instagram page as well, please. I'm Shazma MUA on Instagram. That's where I normally post my looks first. We've gone in with the Kim K lip liner and lipstick. Now unfortunately my battery ran out at this point, so I missed some of that, but I have listed the products. I use mascara, any mascara to be honest with you. I'm not really fussed what mascara I use. I just place my finger on top of the eyelashes, and then I really brush that, take the mascara through, so it goes through my client's natural eyelashes and lashes that we've added on, so just to make sure that they connect. So you can see I really do drag it through, and then I'll get some of the product on my fingers. And that's your final look. So I did go on to do the hair. I've just added on a tiara here. So I did do the hair, so I am going to show you how I did that. But obviously if you want to stop here, this was the final makeup look. But we did go on to change the hair up, and we've done like a Velima bridal style. So this is what we ended up doing. It really, really looked lovely on my model. She looked stunning. So if you want to continue, you can see how I've done the hair. So I've parted the hair basically. I'm not a hairdresser. Hair, to be honest with you, I've never really been taught how to do. I just make it up as I go along. So I don't know all the terminology, but you can see what I'm doing at least. So I've just parted it from ear to ear, and then I'm just taking the center section and brushing that out, and then I'm going to tie that in a ponytail. Now a lot of my hairstyles and makeup, to be honest with you, I just make up as I go along, so I never really always know what I want to do, but it just seems to be the way I work. So I'm just going to tie this up, and then I'm going to section this off and just pop it out of the way. I'm going to work on the section below. Now I'm going to be, obviously I've been going through products that I'm using now. Like I said, I am quite new to this, so I'm not quite sure how to tag products and things like that in my the section below YouTube when I upload this video. So I'm trying to give you all the information now, and then as and when I figure things out, I will try to list everything as well and tag websites and things like that. I'm using a half hair wig here, so this is half a head I'm going to be using, and it's from a place called Coco Hair, and they're in Manchester, so it's KOKO, and I do love the hair extensions. Now what I'm using here is a bit of padding. Now you could use a donut here as well, but I'm using this padding which I've got from, again, you can get these from the like Afro-Caribbean hair shops that you go to. So sometimes they're in red, sometimes they're brown. I've got some black one here, but if I know I'm going to hide it, I sometimes go for the other colours because they're a bit cheaper. But I've got black at the moment, so I'm just going to add this in to see how much height I want, basically, because I'm trying to do quite a heavy high hairstyle here. Normally, obviously, you do have scarves on as well, so for this particular look you could still add a scarf, but I've done it as a Velima hairstyle where we've not got the scarf on the head. But I will be doing a lot of other looks that I will show you exactly how to pad them out if you were to hold your scarf. So I've added a few pieces here, and I just keep going in and I'm just pinning them in with the big long U-pins. But I am doing other videos as well. I'll show you exactly how to pin, etc. But you can see I'm just adding this as and where I think I need it, so I'm just going higher and higher. So I'm just going to add these pieces in. So I keep checking obviously if there's enough height. So I'm using this hair piece, and it comes with a clip inside, so I'm literally just attaching the pin. Can you see? It's like a comb, and then from underneath I just tuck it in. Now the last piece underneath, you can see I had a ponytail there. Now what I had in mind was I was going to do something different with that, but it actually got covered with the half wig anyway. So to be honest with you, you don't need to do that bit if you're going to be doing this, if you're following what I'm going to be doing. So that you didn't really need to do. So what I'm doing is just pinning it in now from the sides. Now the front section, I want to give it a little bit of height. So I'm just sectioning it off. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to just poof it up from the front or take it up differently, but I decided that I just wanted to back comb it from the front. So I'm just brushing it all back, and then I'm just deciding here what I want to do, taking a few bits out that we're going to have hanging out. And then I'm going to take some sections and start back combing, but I'm back combing backwards. Okay, so I'm just going to clip that section out the back. We had this one left from the top, the ponytail that I did. So I'm going to start back combing this. So I'm using a powder. This is from, I can't remember where it's from actually now, but it's just a texturizing powder. So you can use hairspray. This just gives you a little bit of texture. So I'm using a little bit of hairspray, a little bit of the powder, and back combing each section, and then smoothing it out from the top a little bit if I need to, and then spreading out, as you can see. The ends are going to be curled, so at the moment I'm just arranging the hair where I want it to be. So the whole point is at this point here at the crown, I want the height. That's where I want the height. Now obviously if you don't want that height, you could use less padding. You didn't have to use any padding at all if you don't want to, or just don't back comb as much. Now this was the final section going on top, so what I did is I back combed it a little bit, and then I used my straighteners just to smooth it out a little bit. And then all these ends that are hanging out, I'm just using my straighteners to curl. I only wanted soft curls, just like a bit of a curl at the bottom. So you can use curling tongs if you like. I just use my straighteners. Now my model's hair was a little bit difficult to curl with the straighteners because she had dyed it, and so it was a little bit difficult, but we got through it. You just got to be a little bit careful here because you have back combed and you've got your hair in position, so you don't want to be pulling it out everywhere. So I was just being careful just to curl the ends. So at the moment I know it looks a little bit messy, but we'll get around to it where we're going to smooth it all out. Please do like and share, and let me know what you think as well. And like I said, I will be having a lot more videos for you. Got a lot planned. I just hope I've done justice, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. So please do let me know what you think. So we're just going to keep spraying this. I'm just curling the hair as I go along. I have sped this bit up a little bit for you because otherwise it does take a while. So I'm using the end of my tail comb and I'm just lifting up where I need to. I'm just evening it out. Now normally I work in front of a mirror so I can normally see what I'm doing. So here I couldn't really see whether everything was even or not, but I kept going to the front to check. Now I'm taking that front section, I've split it horizontally and I'm back combing it again. And I keep doing it to where, as you can see, I'm just spreading it over now. And then I'll take the final section and do the same. So I just keep back combing, and you keep back combing till you can't feel much resistance then. So I'm just smoothing it out and I'm taking it all backwards. Can you see it's all that whole section has just been brushed backwards. Now at this point I wasn't quite sure how big I wanted to take this section, so I'm just pinning it. So I've just popped my hand and it's created this nice fold there. So I've just pinned horizontally with small bobby pins. What I didn't want to do was grab it into a ponytail and then pin it. So as you can see, it's quite big at the moment, but I do sort that out. I've just left that till the end. So all the bits that were now sticking out from the sides and everything, I'm just going to use my straighteners and curl away. The front section that I actually took from just a minute ago, the ends I ended up curling as well with straighteners. So I just go through curling the hair, adding a bit of hairspray. So that's the back end of the hair that I'm curling now. So I just want a small curl at the bottom. I want it to be pretty much straight. Same from the other side, so pinning up what I need to pin up. And then just curling the rest. These half wigs are actually really good. There are so many hairstyles you can create with these and quite easily. This one may be a little bit more difficult than normal, but there are so many hairstyles that I do using the half hair wigs, and it just has made life easier for me, because before that I used to be trying to find different types of hair pieces, but the half head wigs are really, really good, and I will be showing you a lot of variations. So just the final touches of the curls. And then at this point I'm going to decide how poofy I want it from the front. And I'm just going to pin it down from the sides. Just using a hair serum here, I think it's VO5, so I'm just going through the curls, just smoothing everything. And here I'm just pinning down where I want to pin down now. So again, I'm just using bobby pins to pin it down. And then I'll use like the end of my tail comb just to lift pieces up as well. And I just went over the whole head and just went over smoothing everything, just making sure everything was tidy. I did the tiara in. And that was pretty much our final look. We were just deciding here whether we wanted to bring some hair forward or not. It wasn't what we wanted to keep it at the back.